done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
The cost of homes have spiked. Home buyers need to earn 80% more than they did in 2020 to afford a house.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Pretty damning, brother. It's pretty damning. Yes, me.
Good. Pretty good ad.
Yeah. Welcome, brother, into another show of the Beating the Matrix. We are beating the Matrix pretty steadily here. All right. Got a great show for you tonight. I just anything you want to say, brother? I mean,
Namaste.
All right. Don't forget to check out our channel. Share it with your friends. Like and subscribe. Make sure you get, all kinds of stuff. I see you got some new stuff in the background there, brother. It's like a new shelf back there.
No, I don't think so.
Looks like a change of environment a little bit there for you.
No, I haven't changed anything.
Yeah, you know what I noticed though is like that's a working area for a manly working area that you have in the back.
It's a reloading bench, so
yeah, there is a reloading bench, but you got a lot of like stuff there for manly stuff.
I got a progressive, I got couple single loaders.
But, you got shelves over there on the one side.
There are shelves.
A workbench. There's just something about that's just very manly, John.
Are we doing the manly thing or not? I got my Carhartt jacket, real one. It's all beat up.
I do want to make one amendment from our one of our shows about the guy about Walls's manual where he was talking about cars, and I noticed his pants. When I went back, his pants were immaculate. I mean, beautifully clean.
Yeah, you couldn't find one dirty pair of pants, to wear, one greased up pair, or one greased up T-shirt,
Yeah, and I was thinking, every time I worked on a car, I greased my pants. I mean, my pants would get greased, even if I didn't try to. Like when I'm pulling them up, because I'm bending over so much trying to work on a damn car, my pants are dropping down. So I'm reaching behind trying to pull them up. You would think that you'd have grease stains, right? You'd have the grease stains from your car. No, he didn't have anything. Not even on his Chinese pajama pants.
Chinese made, I'm sure.
Yeah, Chinese made pajama pants. Anyway, so I just wanted to make that amendment to one of our previous shows as something that I found interesting. Anyway, let's get started on the show. First, I want to talk about. I know I've been watching this one particular guy as he crosses the country, Peter Santinello. He's been in Kensington, John, down by you. He's been in Massachusetts. He's been at the border. He's driven through Appalachia. He's really he's what journalism used to be, where he was doing the front line interviewing and talking to people and getting a face-to-face with the ordinary average person and anybody who'd be willing to talk to him about what's going on. So he in this case, he's actually a pretty well traveled guy beyond his stuff he does on YouTube. He is, in fact, somebody who's been to Ukraine, lived in Ukraine for several years. He's been in California for several years. He's moved around the country several times. And so in this case, he actually went back to his own hometown where he grew up in Burlington, Vermont. And so here we have, let's add him to the stream. Here we go. Listen to what he says about what he's experienced so far in his journalistic journey.
In the back door to take in reported stolen property. And but hold on a second.
This woman that he's with is someone who is helping him report. She just volunteered to talk to him about what's going on in Burlington. By the way, again, this is his hometown.
So okay, so this is another area. We're on a street.
Okay, before we get off that topic, 2020, I was living in Ukraine.
Yeah.
My mom lives in Vermont still.
Yep.
So I came back and saw the whole defund the police situation here and what was going on there, right? And so I thought, okay, it will be somewhat corrected 4 years later. What are you saying? Is it's not there yet?
So there are, last count, I think like around 22 uniformed officers. Anywhere 22, 24 uniformed officers.
Yeah, 45,000 residents roughly.
Right. So 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Okay. And then from the sounds of it, incentivization to commit the crime because the punishments are easier here, or what's the story?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of catch and release stuff. I mean,
okay.
I will say the state's attorney is doing more than she has.
Sarah George.
I
researched her.
Yeah.
So she's part of a group. I'm forgetting the name of it.
The George Soros.
It's funded by Soros, from my understanding, and I have to deep dive to make sure of that. But who's in there? Chesa Bodine, the former DA of San Francisco, where I lived when I came back to the States, went back to San Francisco. It got so bad under those policies, my wife and I left. He got recalled. San Francisco recalled it.
Yeah.
Because it was the whole criminals are the victims narrative, and the crime was through the roof and quality of life sucked. So as in, someone can set up a tent here, you can't really do anything about it, smash and grabs everywhere, no punishment. The theft went up to $950. You could steal up to $950 anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. That's a misdemeanor. So the prosecutor, the DA, wasn't prosecuting those misdemeanors. So the cops gave up.
Yeah, Vermont recently.
So the point of what I wanted to bring up in this is this is a consequence of the 2020 Black Lives Matter movement, where it defunded the police, and we're now 4 years later seeing the backlash, even in a small town, and it's the biggest city in Vermont, but you heard him say it's 45,000 people. That's not a city, John. That's
a city, a tiny city.
It's not like New York City, not like Chicago, right? I mean, the numbers just are completely different. My point is, even in this small hub of humanity, you're seeing crime is out of control. When he goes around, and there's like it's as bad as what you see in Kensington, and as when he went through the Kensington streets, and there's literally open air drug markets in parts of Kensington, and so he's pointing out this even in his small little hometown of Burlington. You got a lot of same criminal behavior going on, and there's nobody to check it. There's no one stopping it. And it's basically being sponsored by the government because of their lack of will to fix things and their desire to cut, police budgets and such for the last 4 years. So what we're seeing is a real downturn in civilization. This is the destruction of civilization. This isn't, it's not recovery. It's the downturn of civilization. So, I point that out because this next election, we're 23 days out, and people are still on the fence. I don't understand why. Somehow Vermont still is going to go vote Democrat. They're still going to vote for Harris. I don't get it. Okay, when people do this, they allow this to continue, and then they vote for the party that is allowing it to continue. You have any thoughts on it?
No, go ahead. What's the next one? You're going to finish it, or are you going to?
No, that's it. That's all I was going to show.
I thought you were going to show them walking around and stuff.
I mean that's. I mean, I could show. I can show him. Yeah, I'll show this. I can show you a little bit more. There's a part where he. Right here.
In there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Looks like the internet's being a little slow. Oh, Houston, we have a problem.
Well, do you want to just go on to the next one then?
All right.
Like that stairwell there. Last.
Is that possible?
I don't know. And
here we go. Doesn't like that spot.
And then you got people paying for their tickets.
Paying for their tickets.
And some are aware of the situation, others aren't.
Yeah. And
Okay. Some are
Right here.
right now.
Just, right over there on the one hand side, over on this side, there's all kinds of drugs being passed around right over there.
Okay. And then you got people paying for their tickets.
Paying for their tickets.
Darn.
Yeah. And
Okay.
we have one, the city closed all the staircases but one because of the situation in the staircases. People were using in the staircases, prostitution in the staircases. I walked in on a situation where a woman, I'm going to be very crass. A woman, it basically was a blow train.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Blow train? What does that mean?
So men were lined up.
In there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Those guys, what kind of drugs do you think they're doing?
Oh, they're smoking meth.
They're smoking meth.
Yeah.
In the church lawn.
In the church lawn.
Openly.
Openly. Openly. But and nothing will happen.
And that flies here
It totally flies.
Flies these days.
No,
How is that possible?
I don't know. And we're supposed to be getting a safe injection site.
Oh, don't do that.
And I know.
Oh my God. You're going to bring everyone here who wants to inject without issues.
Well, and one of the things I have always, I'm like, all right, so we're going to have a safe injection site. Then we need to say no open air usage. And if you open air use, there needs to be consequences.
Oh, yeah. So the churches are okay with this?
No,
or they're
they're
just
not. The churches are not okay with this. This church has had so much damage done to it in the past year. Like that stairwell there last summer had all the rocks. Somebody like chiseled underneath and like built an encampment under the stairs there. Their downspout, copper downspout was stolen last year. It's like $50,000 worth of copper stolen.
Okay, is the church still in service?
Oh yeah, yep. And it's unfortunate too because this church, this is where people that are in recovery come for meetings. And when you have people out here using, it's not, you don't want to be going to meetings for recovery. Or who wants to go to the public library and see this? This is our public library.
All right, let's check it out. Are you okay?
Oh yeah, this is a seat.
So what is that? What drug of choice?
Don't make yourselves look stupid. People are staring. They got the camera on.
Okay, right next to the beautiful library.
Right next to the beautiful library. So their drug of choice is heroin, and meth, and crack cocaine. Anthony he likes crack.
So think of that. You're this mother here bringing your young daughter.
These kids.
Yeah, your son and your daughter.
There's no way I would let my kids sit on that bench ever.
Why?
Because
Pee or something?
Pee, feces, fentanyl.
So this is allowed these days in Arlington.
This is allowed.
This situation.
This is allowed.
Little campground set up, drugs.
You've got
Wow.
Saunders there. Stephen Saunders is hunched over. It's the you just saw a drug deal right there.
The drug deal.
Yeah. You literally just saw one. They just don't care. They don't care.
So what a lot of people don't realize, because in America things have been comfortable for so long,
Yeah.
and now they're deteriorating like this in some places. But in fast, policies equal realities.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is only happening because it's allowed. So in other parts of the country, that might be allowed, or it might not be allowed.
Isn't allowed. That's the thing.
The law's not enforced.
It's not enforced, and then the ACLU will come in and sue. And everyone's afraid of the ACLU.
So the ACLU thinks this is freedom, even though it's inhibiting everyone else's freedom.
They're being targeted because they're poor, or it's this whole.
You know, it's interesting. A lot of the people that have these, I call them luxury beliefs, don't have to deal with the kinetic reality. They're living, just south of here, it's really nice really soon, right?
Yeah.
So you can live there in safety, not dealing with that and talk all day long, and it doesn't affect you.
Right.
When BLM happened here, I came back 2020, more BLM signs here in this state, and I'm all over the country, than anywhere else. I went to the hoods. Way less support for BLM. Why? Because they didn't see any of the money from BLM. They knew the movement was a grift.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I think that's probably enough, brother.
James, did they, it's
The
not
actual reporting. Reporting,
but
John.
I disagree that it's because they allow it. The problem you're seeing, what they're seeing up in places like Vermont, even it's all white, and even in Massachusetts and the other countries, other states, is the same thing that's been happening in the inner cities. It's as the leftist nonsense, the communism breaks up the families, right? And you remove fathers from houses, and you take away jobs. Now, I do defense work, and there's two ways people go. Often, the most common, story for either a male, in addiction, or a female in addiction. For the female, if you deep dive, far enough, you'll find an abortion at the bottom of it, or something like that, some trauma like that, broken up family, something like that. Father not there. For the men, it can be similar, but a lot of times it's much more likely that what you're seeing is going on there right there. It's nothing to do with, okay, we're going to let this in now or not. It's everything to do with the fact that something that Donald Trump says again and again and again, and that he started bringing up in 1988 when he said, they're ripping our country off in 1988 on Oprah. That's when I got on the Trump bandwagon, because he was making a point. The number he walks around with, he used to do in all his rallies, but he does it not as much now, is 60,000. 60,000 factories and mills. 60,000 factory and mills that are no longer in America. Every little town, even little towns like that, would have tiny little factories or mills. I remember in Perry County, it's like the Flyers, the Flyer sleds. That's where they made it. It's a tiny little county. It's a nowhere little county in Pennsylvania, but every little county, and every little town used to do something like that. In It's a Wonderful Life, right? They closed the factory down, right? Well, another factory used to go in. Whether it was guns, whether it was flying sleds or whatever. Every 30,000, 60,000 mills, little mills, sawmills, or steel mills, or aluminum mills, and factories, little tiny factories and they were all based around these towns. These towns grew up with it, and that's been gutted from America and sent over to these these other countries, thanks to creeps in like New York City and Wall Street Journal, and the Democrat Party, who wanted to hollow out America. Now, so what happens to the men? Well, the men, they got no way to raise houses or to get married or have kids and stuff like that. So what do? They resort to drugs. Same things with women. So I totally disagree with the idea that it's like, oh no, the Soros things and prosecutors, that's a symptom. It's not their source. Now, what is cruel and what is cruel, evil, and complete nonsense is when Kamala Harris and the Democrats, who openly know they're lying, say something like, "Oh, crime is down in America." No, crime is way up. Trump is exactly right. It's that 20% of these big city police departments aren't even reporting it anymore. And the ones like that, the proper number in a township with 50,000 is probably Upper Darby's got 90,000 and it's got 170 police officers, so 150, whatever. So figure half. So they've half with only 22. They have half the number of police officers they need. So it's not getting reported. And if it does get reported, it's not getting prosecuted. So the crime is way up. It's not. There's two numbers that the FBI keeps. There's the non-reported crime and the reported crime. And because these departments are demoralized and don't have the resources to report, and they're woke leftist Democrats, they're in charge of them, deliberately don't report. They're not making it into the statistics, and that's why you got to look at other statistics, the statistics of the non-reported crime, and in that it's skyrocketing, right? Of course it is, because the police have pulled back, thanks to George Floyd and that nonsense, right? So the police have pulled back. You have a skyrocketing crime, but again, these are symptoms of a deeper problem, and the deeper problem is the hollowing out of America. And Donald Trump is the greatest president we've ever had. And he's the only guy in both parties who's ever figured this out. And it's like, you know what? They have to know. The aristocrats have to know. And they like it. They could stop the 100,000 dead from fentanyl from China. They could stop that. Easy. Close the border down, right? Instead of prosecuting Americans, thank you, scumbag Dick Cheney, turning the internal, creating an entire internal system to surveil Americans and prosecute them because they're Republican now. They could actually go after the murderers and the drug cartels. They're now, Trump was over in Aurora, Colorado this week saying we're going to call it the Aurora deportation. So if their numbers are the 13,000 or 15,000 murderers and rapists, for a total of 28,000, that's just the tip of the iceberg. How many have they really let in? Because I've seen stunning numbers of 50 million illegal aliens that have been allowed into this country. How many of them are, gang members and murderers and rapists? If they're telling us this corrupt agencies, these corrupt agencies who do everything for politics, if they are only admitting 13,000 or 15,000, the number is skyrocketing. So, I disagree. I'm glad he's doing the frontline reporting, but I disagree with his analysis of it, because it's been going on, and now you're seeing it just like you've seen it in the inner cities and destroyed the inner cities and the inner city families. Black families survived slavery. Black families survived Jim Crow. Black families have not survived the Democrat Party, right? And the communism of the Democrat Party, that they're the un-American communism. Marxism isn't a good term. The un-American Marxism that is being propagated on them.
I think Peter's point was that the people in charge have consciously made the choice of defunding the police. I get your point about
it's the religion, this Marxism, and this.
Well,
if you go read,
I think that's they made that choice though.
The Communist Manifesto, if fake economics, it was never economics. It's about anti-God belief, because he was a devil worshiper. So it's belief in the devil. That's what it is. That's what atheism is, and destroying the family. It's about the Communist Manifesto is destroying the family, and that's what they do. So when you don't have dad there, you're going to get prostitution, like you heard that girl was wearing. When you don't have dad there to kick ass, you're going to get boys who don't work, who are just going to be indulgent like that. So it's really, a lot of it is, the creep feminists, these fake feminists, and these this religion of un-American Marxism that is destroying, that has led to that. And let's not forget the number one culprit, the Wall Street Scumbag Journal, the New York Scumbag Times, and Scumbag New York City, and the so-called free traders who want to ship all our jobs, 60,000 factories and mills from across over to these scumbag countries. That's it.
I think his point though is like the policies the politicians are making, and it is though, but it is the politicians' policies of of not getting more police. This whole Black Lives Matter, where they don't want to
what are
hire
you gonna
the
do? Lock
police.
up every drug user? The problem is you can't.
It's
And there's
not the
better,
drug users,
there's better
John. It's
things.
not the
There's better
drug
ways
users.
to
You're
do it.
going after the drug dealers. You got to go, but it's the idea of allowing it. It's the Rudy Giuliani broken windows scenario.
No, it's not. I disagree. That's not the problem. The problem is these people don't have reasons to live, to like start a family, to have a family, to keep a family, to work.
Ultimately, that
They
goes
don't
back
have
to
reason
the.
to work.
Ultimately, that goes back to the schools, right? I mean, you're not teaching the kids the right way to live.
No, I'd say,
You're not
but
teaching
that's
them.
a big part of it. That's the Marxism in it. But it's the main thing is the economics. If they had jobs, the rich don't have this problem. The rich don't. People in Martha's Vineyard. Look at Barack Obama. He doesn't have this problem because they're the aristocrats. That's their class. And they want to destroy the middle class, and this is how they're destroying the middle class. Take our jobs and ship them off. Don't make America, the land of the free and entrepreneurship. Ship it off to freaking to these foreign countries where you can have child labor, slave labor, and no unions, no union rules, no OSHA rules, no none of this stuff. So, but I mean, we'll be here all day arguing because I'm telling you that's the point. But.
Okay,
you want to go to the next one.
So the next thing I had was pointing out that the way that the New Republic looks at Trump as a racist, right? They repeatedly call Trump a racist, yet they have in their own reporting, they have that Latino men, Donald Trump's rise in the demographic as late as October, Latino decisions polling show support for Trump at 14%. In the end, Trump more than doubled that figure, winning 29% of Latino voters in the last election. So, but he's racist, and also there's this set of polls as well.
3 polls only of black voters. Kamala Harris is polling the worst among black voters and any Democrat in recent American history. Not even close. When you look at all the numbers eating each other, a lot of polls have her at 80 or under 80%. That sounds very, very high. Wow, 80% is huge. Barack Obama got 95%. Hillary Clinton got 92%. Joe Biden got 91%. The movement away from the Democratic Party is something we've been seeing for over a decade now from young black men. It's now hitting a point where they can't really ignore it. And I don't think the tide isn't turning because the Democratic Party is so heavily female, so heavily woke, so heavily college educated female, which is just, we have to say Latinx and all this other nonsense, really turns off young men. And that's a movement and a traction that they're not changing anyway. There were 3 polls.
So between that and the idea of this part right here,
it was a rough week. I mean, her faves are down. They're struggling with, the front page of the New York Times this morning, Democrats struggling with African-American voters, particularly African-American men. This gender gap issue is real. It's a real problem. And you see the Democrats reacting to it. And I think what they are now finally in October, the election, coming to realize is that a lot of men think Democrats care more about dudes who want to become women than dudes who just want to be dudes.
Well,
and no hunting, cosplay, or cringy videos is going to change it. The bet is made. Working class men, whether you're black, Hispanic, or white, persistently, consistently do not believe the Democratic Party and specifically Kamala Harris are going to do a thing for them. They've been told that they're the problem, and I suspect they're going to rise up on election day and tell the elites who told them that you're wrong.
So the point here being with those 3 bits of information, you see like that they want to continue to say that Trump is racist, but he keeps on getting more and more of the black and Hispanic vote. I mean, when they're not voting for Kamala, who do they think they're going to vote for? Do they think they're going to vote for the Easter Bunny? I mean,
Jill Stein and the Green Party and the Green Party.
Yeah, okay. I doubt it. But it gets back to the point. Where do they think they're going to vote? vote for Trump, and he's been pulling in larger and larger numbers, as pointed out by their own reporting. It's like they're completely disconnected. The left is completely disconnected from reality. For the first time in decades, Republicans are out-registering than Democrats. The majority party has become Republicans, and it's because of Donald Trump. Let's make it completely clear. Donald Trump came into the race in 2015, and he immediately took over the Republican Party, and the elites in charge, like McConnell and Paul Ryan and the other
scumbags
who were running the show, got all offended. This is another reason why Dick Cheney did what he did. This is another reason why Adam Kinzinger did what he did. It's because they're the elitist
creeps who sold out and didn't even win. They sold out for loot. They're loser creeps.
They'd rather lose honorably, John, than
and sell out
honorably.
still.
Yeah, and still be a
They're
sellout.
the little bitch sellouts. Instead of being the chief sellouts, they're the little bitch sellouts.
But here we have the reason why our party is doing so well now isn't because of any of those people I listed, but it's because of Trump. Because Trump has turned the party into the People's Party.
Trump has always been a Democrat. He took over the Republican Party, and then he stole the Democrat Party from the Democrats because he's getting the union workers, the white working class, the Hispanic working class, which is most of them,
The working class. He's getting the working class.
and the black working class. There's a separate divide there, though, why they're doing it, though. Why black men don't want to be lectured, harangued, belittled, and yelled at anymore. And men in general don't want to have a virtueless female or a bunch of virtueless females saying, you're not allowed to say that anymore. And we've had it and we fed up with it. That's a separate issue, and there's three different issues. There's the men are tired of being so-called being browbeaten by and hectored by these evil harpy females. And then there's the black men versus that separately, and then there are Hispanics. So if you look at the polling, the Hispanics, I've seen polls where the Hispanics where it's actually flipped. It's actually inverted now, where a majority of Hispanics are going for Trump. Now, this is actually you're going, well, what about all the illegals? Well, yeah, the illegals that the Democrat Party are taking their names of and then using them to write fake mail-in ballots. To the tune of millions of them. They're going to be voting for Democrats. But if you take away the fact that, say they even have a right to have a vote, they're stolen votes. If you look at it, there's always been a divide in the Democrat Party about this. Going back to one of my personal, favorites and heroes, Cesar Chavez, who organized the workers in vegetable farms, in California. He used to go down. He was, Navy vet. Used to, big time Catholic. He used to go down, round up the other Hispanic Americans, and they would go and beat up the illegals, because the illegals are, look, if you're coming to this country for the freedom, you're going to put down your roots and you're going to fight to the death for this country. You're an American. I don't care what your color. I don't care if you're green, white, yellow, purple. If you're an alien, I don't care. This is your country. But if you're coming here like these so-called migrants are, to use us, to exploit us, to say, okay, you're going to get all our free living hotel in New York City, whatever. You're going to take Social Security, which you didn't put into. You're going to claim a disability which you don't have. You're going to get food stamps and all the rest of it. It should be going to our guys, and then you're going to work on the side so you can get all this money and send it home so you can go back and make yourself a little plaza down there. No, you're not American. You're just exploiting America, which is a lot of them, right? And so Cesar Chavez used to go beat them up and kick them out because they're deliberately cutting down the price of labor, because you can hire these illegals for nothing and not have to adhere to any labor laws, not to cut out any not to pay in any ways into their financials, in their taxes, in their state taxes, in their county taxes, in Medicare, into their and also all the Social Security and all the other things you have to pay for an employer. You don't have to do any of that. You just hire the illegals at a lower rate. And so Hispanics, and that's why if you look at it, in the Sun Belt states, Arizona and Nevada, Trump is up like 7 points or something. And in the whiter Sun Belt states, in the whiter swing states like Michigan, and Pennsylvania, he's like even, but that's probably because he's up 7 points there too. It's that he's up 14 points or something like that in Arizona and Nevada. He's expected to win those now because the Hispanics, are going to vote for the racist Donald Trump because they means big economy, and it's a chance for them because they're Americans to get out of the working class and middle class and actually get into the upper class. So there's the Hispanic end of it that we know, and as you know, there are Hispanic people that go through all the the rigmarole, the $10,000 it takes to come into America, spend all their money, can't get their family members over because they want to apply legally. Now it's an absolute lie that these creeps on the left keep spouting about how there's all the illegals do less crime. No. If you count 50 million of them, every single one of them has done at least one crime by breaking into the country. That's illegal. You've increased it 50 million.
I make that point a lot with people who argue with me on it.
Right. So it's complete nonsense. Now the black thing is now that too is black men have been moving to Donald Trump for a lot of reasons. Number one, doesn't have a racist bone in his body, right? And he represents a chance, the American dream to them. Look, Trump is about gold, right? He's, the best casinos, the best hotels, the best women, right? He's a chance for them to get the hell out of the poverty and go all the way to the top. And so of course they're going to. So the only thing that's holding them back is that Trump is a racist. Trump is a racist, which only the new ones, new young black men think, because the old ones know. They saw him. They saw him on Oprah. They heard him that he was going to make Oprah his vice president. They saw that he was legitimately supporting and bankrolling a lot of Jesse Jackson's run. The Reverend Jackson's run for president and vice president
when the Democratic Party shut him down.
Right,
yeah,
screwed him out. Right. He should have been the first vice president because he earned it. I remember those election runs. Staying out of the bushes. Staying out of the bushes was right. But the man thing is another thing. We have just had it with these creep hag feminists. What's Mark Stein call them? Sourpuss, McHarpy, shrews, right? Come on, Miss Sourpuss, Harpy McShrew. We've had it with these virtueless hags tricking other females into, look, you just got to be used by other men. You can have it all, blah, 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 bull crap, right? Instead of being virtuous women. And so, the question is, can enough men get together with enough and the other thing is, men are based on reality, right? So when you see this lying, the best line I've heard is, you can't. Kamala's problem is this. You can't fix fake. You can't fix fake. She's fake. Everything she says is fake. You can't fix that. And so men who spend their lives fixing things, right, go, well, I don't want any part of that. She's fake, right? And how do you fix fake? You can't. The only people that are going to fall for that are dumb idiots who don't fix things. And so men. That's the exact opposite of men. This lie after lie after lie. And listen, other than gaslighting America, Trump, 3% economy going, woohoo, we're all living great. Low money, low gas, lots of money. Her and the Bidenomics, money it's worthless now. It's freaking. You go in the store and it's unbelievable. Eggs are $4. $4 for a dozen eggs. That's ridiculous. It went from $1 to $4. And all the food, based on that is the same way. It's ridiculous. It's horrible. It's horrific. It's the destruction of the middle class because that money doesn't come back, right? Right. And whether you're old or you're middle class, you never get that purchasing power back in your back. Donald Trump increased the purchasing power, $6,000 at least. Right. And these asses have cost us, $1,200 each month. So lie after lie. So it's can the fix everything class of workers and men and the virtuous women get together and overcome the low, as Trump as Al Rushmo used to call them, the low information voters, the ones tricked into this nonsense? That's a question. That's a good question. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think you raise a great point with that about the lacking of manliness. And having said that, moving on to the next piece here, we have Walls unable to load a shotgun that supposedly he's had for years, and he's done pheasant hunting with before.
Peasant hunting, James. He was out peasant hunting.
Peasant hunting, yes. So, I mean, I watched this video. I'm not going to, it's 10 minutes long. I'm not going to put this on. But there is no scene where he's trying to load his gun, his shotgun. So, I mean, we do have Fox News who reported on this. And here we go. This is the video from Fox News.
And, you know, he's out there. He's got...
Definitely got issues tonight with the feed.
It's not a new gun. He says he's owned it for quite some time. He's got a nice gun, an A400, and as you'll see in this video, which we're about to play for you, he has some trouble with the gun. Watch.
This is a Beretta A400. I bought it when I was shooting a lot of trap, because it has a kind of their patented thing, a kickoff. So when you get old, it doesn't hurt your shoulder as much.
So he can't load the gun. He's trying to figure out how to load the gun. Now, you know, the point of, I am into this. You guys know this.
Yeah.
And the point of it is not simply, oh, look, point and laugh. That's not what it is for me. He clearly does not know how to operate the gun. He says in here that he bought it some time ago because one of the reporters asked him what kind of gun that is, and he tells him. And he says that he bought it to shoot trap. Anyway, when he was shooting trap a long time.
Anyway, I'll stop it there. The point is, he apparently isn't manly enough as we all thought. He doesn't know how to load his own shotgun. Right, so
he's just having I mean, come on, James. He was in the Army for 20 years. He can.
You think so, John? You think so?
I think
because he didn't do it. Because he clearly didn't know what he was doing. And if you see him when he's walking, the whole conversation before it, which again I'm not going to bore people with, he seems so out of place being there with these people, talking to them. You know, he's friends with them.
Why, though, does he want to pretend to be a hunter? Why does he want to pretend to be
the question.
Why do these people? Oh, you know, Kamala's out there going, I'm going to lower your taxes, right? Why? Why? I'll tell you why. Because America is the greatest country in the world, and we are still good people. We have a bunch of people, some idiots, you're going to play the file, who are falling for these fools, but they are just our fellow, you know, brothers and sisters, unfortunately, that are low information on this because they're busy doing their lives, right? And these creeps get away with lying to them because nobody holds them accountable because of the corrupt press, the absolute corrupt press, which needs to be anti trust busted, like good old, Teddy Roosevelt used to do. We need to trust bust these creeps. We need to take the CBS and the airwaves and make it a lottery. So maybe we can get our old ballistic patriot back on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so every month we say, oh, you want to be a TV show? Well, there's only a limited number of airway for this, but we're gonna put it out for a lottery every year, right? Because it's a limited number, and so maybe CBS wins it that year, maybe not, maybe another, so you get some kind of competition instead of these creeps, who have locked up for the last 75 years, and they've gone from 95% of the population believing what Walter Cronkite says, which is a mistake because Walter Cronkite was wrong about a lot of stuff. But 95% to today, where the only people who are believing it are the people who unfortunately fall for this nonsense because they're not paying attention. They listen to it every day, and they get propagandized by these leftist creeps, and we really got to break them up.
They're probably the same people that think Anna Nicole Smith married for love, and
Why not? 7% of people believe Elvis alive.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and now with all the conspiracies that came true, that's all they do when it says, "Oh, you're QAnon." Well, you want to deny that there are pedophiles running all over. Oh, you believe in what all the other conspiracies are, right? Listen. Unfortunately, you gave these creeps, the aristocrat creeps, gave conspiracy theories a good name because we found out that HCQ works. That that masks don't work, and then they do work, and then they don't work. That the Jabba it turned out wasn't a vaccine, wasn't harmless. Didn't give you any protection. All the conspiracy theories they all came true. You gave conspiracy theories a good name, so that's on you, you creeps.
Yeah. So we have that complete fabrication of what he was trying to do, but it kind of fits the whole mold. Like Kamala saying she has Kamala having a Glock, supposedly having a Glock. She probably just picked it because it's a widely popular brand. But if you think about it, she owning one in California, she's probably owning it illegally because there's all kinds of restrictions in California.
James,
right?
James, I know Kamala Harris because I've fought against her type for the last 20 years. She is your typical promoted beyond her means DA, a bad one, right? And this is typical. I fully believe she has a gun, and it might not even be legal the way she got it, because that's what they do. She's the one, remember, who laughs and joked about smoking marijuana, and you put 1,500 black guys in jail for the same
Exactly.
She is your typical evil prosecutor who, what's good for me. That doesn't matter. I get away with it. What I'm going to do is persecute the underclass. And so that's why she's so typically dangerous.
Yeah.
I believe fully that she has a Glock, and it's probably illegal. Who knows?
Speaking of on a manly issue, today I was at an event in Newton, and we had our Republican tent up, and it was manned by about six women, 5 to 6 women. And I was checking in on them every once in a while. Help them.
Whoa! You patriarch! You said it was manned by 6 or 7 women.
Yeah. So anyway, this Democrat comes up and he starts harassing the ladies, and one of them, by the way, was our sister Peggy, and she, they were going. This guy was giving them hell and giving him a hard time, and he just wanted to go over. He was told by NPR to come over and talk to get other perspectives, and so one of them gave me a little sign that there was an issue. So I went over there and I just started engaging with the guy, and he left. As soon as I got there, he left. In other words, he could have no problem giving the 5 to 6 women a hard time. But the moment a guy showed up, he ran away and took off.
NPR, James.
It's NPR, yeah. No, I'm just pointing that out. I mean, it was an interesting turn of events, but like they couldn't get they everything they said to the guy, they didn't have any impact. I show up and I say, "Have you heard of Mark Twain?" And he's like, "What makes you think I didn't hear of Mark Twain?" I go, "I don't know. A lot of people don't seem to know who Mark Twain is." I mean, I'm a history guy. Of course I know who Mark Twain is, but that's beside the point. Then he turned around and left, and that was it.
What was the reference to Mark Twain you were going to say?
Well, I was making a point of Mark Twain. I said I was saying I agree. He should find out about what other people's opinions are, because Mark Twain said in his posthumous publication of Who Is the Country, a guy who lived through the Civil War. He said we need to talk to each other. And we need to be. It's your job. It's your duty as an American citizen to speak your mind. And it actually goes back to the, for me, it goes back to the Captain America quote where when everyone is telling you you're wrong and you believe what is right, it's your job to plant yourself like the tree of liberty, and tell them, you want me to move? No, you move. You change your mind.
freedom of consciousness, right? And
Yeah,
it's the
freedom
American
of
way.
consciousness.
And the leftist nut jobbery that's taken over the
Yeah.
Democrat Party, and and all of the universities and the public schools has to be eradicated because it's un-American. It's continental bullcrap from Europe. It's the same. It's the Marxist bull BS from Europe. It's no place over here. We're the new world. We don't need that old world crap.
No,
That's what we have to really nail it. Am I going to get? You want to do the stupid people, or do you want to do the economics?
I'm gonna throw an audible. I forgot to tell you about this one, and I didn't show you this, but this is North Carolina. This is just about a 4-minute clip I wanted to play. All right, so let me put this on a 4-minute clip. It's very interesting. It's very telling.
Have set up a place for people to come do donations. The Harley Davidson, you got hundreds and thousands of supplies here ready to be coming in. All you need to do is drive up and you can get whatever you need. We're going to talk to one of the guys right here. How's it going, sir? What are you guys doing to make sure everybody gets what they need here inside the community of Asheville?
So we have a complete coalition of civilian and retired military individuals here that are working totally off donations. This is tax-free to the American public, right? We're not operating on any tax dollars. We saw a problem. We have a bunch of individuals who are motivated, who have very distinct backgrounds. You know, for me, I was 26 years retired Air Force Special Operations. My job is to control the aircraft here. My job is to get these guys loaded and get them out to the people who need them across the valley over there who are knocked out. The rest of the guys here are facilitating going out and opening up roads, going out and taking down dams, going out and checking on people, doing recon. We've got this whole area taken care of.
Are you guys seeing anything on the federal level to help supplies with people here?
Who?
Are you guys seeing anything on a federal level?
Who?
Yeah, so they're not seeing anything.
There's my answer. Who? The answer is no, we have not seen them. Individuals who have gone out and gone to certain areas have been turned away by FEMA. They have been actively, I guess, hindered by FEMA. So our role here is to keep the federal government out of this area completely. We are sustaining lives. Our job is to keep the living alive at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to make this video a political video, Trump or Kamala, but so many people are upset because they're seeing over the past few years millions of dollars, billions of dollars go over places in time of emergency. Apparently FEMA doesn't have anything.
You probably have not heard this statement before, but I will tell you right now, FEMA is insolvent. They are incapable of funding anything bigger than a pool party. Right now, we're not receiving the help that we need from the federal government. That's fine because we're doing it with the help of the people here. We're doing it with the help of all of us volunteers. This is tax-free to the American public. Those people need help, and we're giving them help. That's it.
So part of the point of what I wanted to show you with that is, first of all, he said that part of our job is to keep the federal government out of here because they're just fucking it up. Excuse my French, but that's what it comes down to. They sent, I don't know if you heard, but they sent electric chainsaws. They sent 3 pallets of electric chainsaws into North Carolina, into a part where there's no electricity, and they don't have generators. It's you're supposed to run an extension cord as you're going up on a bucket to cut down a tree. Come on, John. This is the incompetence. This is the incompetence of the left. It's
The
clear.
federal government.
It's and the fact that they sent what was it, $151 million overseas, or $151 billion overseas to Israel, Ukraine, and Hamas. We're giving them all this money, and yet people have homes destroyed. If you watch Nick Shirley's video, it is devastating. It is absolutely devastating what was done, what happened to them. But I wanted to just point that out. I'll put the economic. Here's the economic video that we were talking about. This is Byron Donaldson going on Charlamagne's show and talking about inflation. By the way, this Breakfast Club was also the club, the place where Kamala Harris laughed about were talking about the marijuana use. This is where she laughed about using it after locking up 1,500 people for smoking it in California. Here we go.
I would argue we're not really thriving right now.
This inflation, which by the way was brought to us by Kamala Harris, has really slowed down people from being able to excel.
By Kamala?
Yes.
Vice president.
Charlamagne.
It's still the president.
Charlamagne, listen, man. When Joe Biden wanted to do his American Rescue Plan, Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate. She broke the tie that started this inflation that has hurt so many people in our country. Everybody listening to your show, it's not true?
First of all, it's
you sure you want to go there?
Tie-breaking vote.
You sure you want to go there?
Go outside, Congressman, when you go outside.
You sure you want to go there?
district,
Okay, let's go there.
You
got notes. You got notes, Angela, right?
That's fine. I have notes.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it to Charlamagne.
Note I have today
I'm gonna give it to Charlamagne.
is that on
I don't
every
even want to
question
hold it.
I've asked,
because Angela,
for
hold on now.
for every infrastructure project in your community,
You can go to
should
third
go
page,
out
just the
and
highlighted
thank
portion.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Congress that voted for the American Rescue Plan.
Angela,
That's what should be happening.
Larry Summers wrote an op-ed back in 2021. Larry Summers was the Treasury Secretary for Bill Clinton. He was an economic advisor to Barack Obama. He said that the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden wanted, that Kamala Harris was the tie-breaking vote in the United States Senate, would create a massive inflation that we have not seen in a generation. Well, guess what? Larry Summers was correct. You know who also was correct, Angela? I was, because I was in the budget committee when they brought the bill. And I said in that committee, it's going to cause massive inflation. That's what happened. So the problem we have in our economy today is that prices have gone up massively. Wages adjusted for inflation is down. People's pocketbooks are hurting. But we have a presidential election in 40 days. So, and I'm gonna ask Envy this question. Envy, you're in the housing business as well. I know because I watch, I listen to the show. No, I'm just asking them a question. Chill, Angela. So I listen to the show. I know you do a lot of business in housing. Would you hire somebody that broke up stuff in one of your houses to fix the other houses?
No.
Exactly. She broke the economy.
She broke the economy, brother.
See, she did. Now it's real simple. When you bring in revenue of only 4 trillion and you spend 6 trillion, money is just like anything else. It's a commodity. That means that the same amount of money is it's worth half again is less. So you literally have 50% inflation, and you do it every year. You have what we just had, and she was the tie vote. She voted twice, I think. For both of these budgets and that, and it was a tie vote for both of them broken. And what is this so-called infrastructure that we were supposed to get? We're supposed to get broadband for all
shovel-ready jobs, brother.
Right,
shovel-ready jobs.
Broadband for all these, so-called shovel-ready jobs. Broadband for all the rural areas, right? They spent billions on that. Zero broadband for all these areas that actually they're supposed to get plug-in stations. For electric cars. They were going to spend, put them all everywhere. They spent billions for it, and they got like 7. All this so-called infrastructure was just a way to take money and give it to their Democrat friends. It was the purest and worst type of corruption. And what'd you get for it? When they say the wages, he makes a great point. The wages haven't been adjusted yet. They deliberately take out of the so-called common core of inflation, the actual things that cause inflation for all of us, the gas and the food prices, so that for the senior citizens, they don't have to adjust it, because the law says that you have to adjust the cost of living with as it goes up. And since they've inflated the cost of living, the real cost of living, they would have to adjust it. So they did 2.5 increase in Social Security. So what are all the old people that are barely surviving on Social Security? What are they all supposed to do? Because the real inflation was 25 to 50%, and they just said, "Oh, we just gave you another 2.5%." Now that's for the poor people on Social Security and disability. What about the workers? Well, they said this big union strike for all the dock workers, and they had 2 real issues. The one issue was that they wanted 70% increase in salary. They go, "That's horrible." They said over 6 years, it's not unreasonable. Look at it from their perspective. The last 4 years, they just had 50% inflation, 25 to 50% inflation, right? And the car parts are 50 to 100% inflation. The actual, if you go into the dollar store, it's actually 25% inflation because it's $1.25 now, right? So they've had that. That hadn't been adjusted yet. Plus, they go look at it. Well, what about the next 2 years? If these creeps win again, they're going to do it again. They're, Kamala, the scumbag Kamala is going to, you get more trillions of dollars that our grandparents, that our grandkids are going to have to pay, and then hand it out all to her friends, their Democrat friends. It's the worst worst tax that there is. The inflation that they have is the worst tax that there is, and it's fallen on the middle class and the working class. And it's why we're all like going like, this sucks. You can't fill up your gas tank. You go into the grocery stores. You're like, you got sticker shock over eggs, sticker shock over cheap tuna fish, right? You know, you can't even live. I'm not even talking like, oh, you're going to buy steaks or something like that. I mean, sticker shocks over bread. That's just nonsense. And people are saying, you know, this is ridiculous. When you're dropping $100 for the bare essentials, get the hell out of here. And so that's why the middle class and the working class is going, this is nonsense. And what's shocking is the low information of Charlamagne the God and these other people who don't, who I guess they watch ABC and CBS every day and can't figure it out. It's like, I mean, how hard does that be to figure out? Trump, more money in your pocket, $6,000 more in your pocket. Bidenomics, it's all gone, and you're in the hole, and everything is in the hole, right? So do you want me to do the economics of it?
John, I mean, you can, but I have the answer for you.
All right.
I have the answer for you. It's right here.
Like me. A lot of countries don't like me. They say, who do you like better? Sleepy Joe Biden or Trump? Oh, I like Biden better. Yeah, because he didn't let them do what they're doing. He doesn't have a clue, the guy. Just goes to sleep at 4 o'clock every damn day. He doesn't have a clue. And he's destroying, they're destroying our country. You see, that's the real threat to democracy, stupid people. That's the threat. Our biggest threat to democracy is stupid people.
There you go, brother.
And that's number one, Kamala and Tampon Tim, right?
Yeah,
and the Democrat Party and the assholes in the Wall Street Journal. Since you cursed, I'm going to curse. And the assholes in the New York Times and New York City and Connecticut. We should take the star away from Connecticut. And all these crapheads who sold out America. They've killed the golden goose. Send out more jobs. Send our factory jobs over to China and see how great the American economy is. No, jackasses. All you've done is now you created a peer rivals us with a bigger navy than us and has more manufacturing capability than we do. Great job, ass. Right? And that's why. But the economics of it is real simple. The one thing that Trump should get credit for, which proves that he's a genius beyond all other geniuses that have been president of the United States, is this. He's put to death the idea that the tariffs are bad. For 100 years, fake economists have been getting by. What happened is, like, after World War II, so dictator FDR has to literally die in office to not be president of the United States of America, who thinks he's so important, so great that that America has to have him for a third term and for a fourth term, right? Dictator FDR, in that time period, you get the creation of the Fed, and you get the taking America off the gold standard originally. I mean, quasi on back and forth. But you get this fiat bullcrap money, right? For the first 100 years of the country, you had tariffs, duties, and no inflation. So at the beginning of the country, a dollar was a dollar, $20 was $20, and at the end of 100 years, it was the exact same. No inflation. You got incentive to save. No inflation. Let me say that again. No inflation, or like barely minuscule. A dollar was a dollar. And what did we do with that? Well, we only conquered the continent. Okay, whatever you can say we've done now, we conquered the continent in 100 years thanks to that economic plan, right? No income tax, none of that, right? I make the argument that income tax is unconstitutional because they lied to us and they said it was only going to be 2%, and now people are paying 50%, 60% of it. It's ridiculous. And so the founding fathers knew the power to tax is the power to destroy. Yep. So tariffs ran the country, and government had to be small, because they had to make do with that, right? Then you have scumbag FDR, you have scumbag, thieves, and we're going to make the federal government, gigantic, and all these whiz kids who know more, and the scamdemics who are so much smarter than all the dopey American people, right? Bretton Woods, you have the American taking, Knucklehead Nixon takes America off the dollar, the gold standard altogether, right? It's been a lie again and again and again. The tariffs hurt the economy, and so even Harris is going around, because this is the so-called tax raising, the sales tax, the alleged sales tax that she claims, it's an out lie, that Trump is going to administer. Now, it's not a sales tax. That's obviously something different, but it's a lie that she used, and what she or she's allowed to get away with because the idiots in the press don't bring this up. The fact of the matter is, Trump put these tariffs in place, and Joe Biden, because they're bringing in so much money and were so effective, kept them. So they still have these. If it's the case that she's variously said, because she has 60 so-called Nobel experts, prize winners. Now, first of all, they're not Nobel Prize winners. Those are fake Nobel Prizes. That's because the economics, because they want to pretend like there's actual scientists, wanted Nobel Prizes like the physicists get, and the mathematicians and the chemists. So they came up with this fake Nobel Prize that morons like Paul Krugman run around and get. So what? You don't have, economics is nothing has changed in economics since Keynes. And Keynes, unfortunately, what happened is, because FDR, World War II came back, and they said, "Oh, look, all this government spending helped the economy." It did not. It was actually the reason why we had the Great Depression and we didn't get out of it was because the smart money, the people with capital, didn't put it back in the system because they knew that creep FDR was going to find some way to tax it in, because that's what he did over the 16 years that he was in charge. If somebody capital, you put it in there, he'd find a way to capital to take it away. So all the capital sat on the side. After the war, there was a big demand because typewriters were turned into machine guns, and there was a lot of demand for that. So that's true. But the actual reason why it wasn't because of government spending. It was the exact opposite. And even Keynes would say that, oh, look, government, even Keynesian economics would say, look, the government's supposed to spend during downturns, but during good turns, when the economy is good, then the government has to pay off all that debt. Only morons like Krugman and these idiots that are running around today said, oh, no, what we need is more government spending, more government spending, more government spending, and more government spending. Because what you're seeing is what you see happening in the Biden era for 3 years, is all that does is create outrageous inflation. And inflation is the biggest tax of all. So if the proof that proves that Trump is a genius and understands economics, and an American president should only be a businessman, is he brought back the idea of tariffs and showed they work after 100 years of fake economics and lying about how they wouldn't work. And so what? If it's going to be $1,000 or $5,000 that we have to pay more so that the Chinese slaves and children aren't making it, it's worth it. Because it'll bring back and reshore all of the business. Biden goes around claiming that there's been increase in manufacturing. Yeah, because of the tariffs that he put in place, that Trump put in place, and the Biden kept. Right? Yeah. So if it costs us $5,000 more out of our money, guess what? What will happen is this, because this is what's been happening for the last 40 years. The scumbag country China overproduce, then they got that stuff because of protections in America onto the American economy. That drives out the whether you're making pens or you're making. The other day I found a aluminum door handle, right? American made, right? American made, drives them out, right? And then it drives them out, and then when they're driven out, then the Chinese jack up the prices on everything. Because they have a monopoly now, and everything in America is expensive. So tariffs will actually may have a short run of increasing prices, right? But then we'll drive down prices because all those companies, those manufacturers, will be reshored in America. And that's all Donald John Trump who did that. That he's the best economist we've ever had as president of the United States. He's the only person who understands it, despite what all these so-called experts have said, what the 16 so-called Nobel Prize winners have said. He's put a nail in that coffin that tariffs are bad. tariffs are good because Trump knows how to use them. And free trade, fake free trade is bad. And it's been destroying this country for the last 40 years. That's why I was on the Trump train back in 1988.
All right, brother. Well, that brings us to an end in our show for tonight. Do you have any final thoughts, brother?
I like that idea that you can't fix fake. So Kamala has a conundrum. You can't fix fake.
No, you can't. All right, brother. On that note, once again, everyone, make sure you check out our Facebook and our website, and make sure you get some merch. I'm wearing my Thomas Jefferson shirt. I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. And on that note, brother, it's all good.
Because God loves you.
Because God loves you.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
2 men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder and the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking 2 New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently? There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition. US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
The cost of homes have spiked. Home buyers need to earn 80% more than they did in 2020 to afford